some an entrepreneur, they can get from the help of help from our center. And Shishir uh, is also an entrepreneur whose startup is with us. We have presently we have two startup at our center. So he has one startup of our institute, and I want to introduce little about the topic. And so the startup ecosystem is formed by the people, startup in their various stages and various types of organization in a location, interacting as a system to create new startup companies. Next, we will listen from the speaker. So I think the session is very much interactive and students will enjoy a lot. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. And I would like to give a little introduction about Abhishank Jain. He is the founder of Abhishank Technology Private Limited and Akin Monitor Private Limited. Abhishank is a serial entrepreneur. Have worked closely with the Indian startup ecosystem, helping companies from automotive domain in their ideation stage to develop prototype and let the company need the market ready. So I like to invite Mr. Abhishank Jain to say words with share his views with our student and enlighten us with his views. Please.
Thank you, and thank you so much. So should we directly proceed ahead with the session and start it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hello,
Hi
Shan.
sir. Hi sir.
Hi. I just need a
Hi
very
sir.
quick roll call from the students who are with us. Like, hi.
Hi sir.
Hi, sir.
Okay,
Hi
what
sir.
about others?
Hi, sir. Guys, come on, speak up.
Okay. Guys, I just want this session to be very interactive. See, what we will be doing with this session, I will just try to fill you up with the entire information that is required to get started up. Right? This session is not about once you get into the startup and what you will be doing. This is not about that. This is about like wherever you are currently, and if you want to pursue your career into a startup, if you want to build a product and get to the market, whatever that is required to get your company incorporated, to get yourself registered under Startup India program. So this is what we are going to discuss in this session. So first, I want the response from each one of you. I want to know that you people are with me. So say hi.
Hi, sir.
Hi sir.
Hi sir.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
That's
Hi
great.
sir.
Hi, sir.
That's great. That's great.
I
Thank
can
you
see
Hi
so
the
sir.
much.
early morning energy in them.
Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so I believe we
Great,
should
sir.
have to directly start our session now. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I change slides, can you see the change in slides as well?
Yes.
Yes sir.
Yes,
Yes
sir.
sir.
Okay, so we do not have the issue that we have faced earlier. Okay, guys, so what this session is all about? Directly, I'm going to the point because we are limited with the time, we are limited with the resources, and we have to cover a lot. I want you people to be as attentive to this session as possible, like just for this 1 hour. I do not know what are your plans for the entire day, but just for this 1 hour, I need you people to be with me. Because whatever we are going to discuss in here is entirely non-linear, is entirely something that you have always planned for, is entirely something that once you get into an engineering campus, this is exactly the same thing that you thought of doing. This is what we are going to discuss with this session. Okay, so again, I just need a quick roll call that you people are still with me. You haven't left the meeting, right? And I also want you people just to have a pen and paper. If there is something that you want to write down, you can write it down. If there is something that comes up to your mind and you do not want to interrupt me with the flow, with the momentum of the session, but wants to ask me the doubt in a later stage, I want you to write it down right at the same moment. Do not just think of it, write it down and ask it to me. Okay, this is how we are going to proceed with this session. Whatever you have got in your mind, we are going to discuss it today. I will highly appreciate if few of you will be turning on your webcam, because in this way it is going to be a kind of two-way deal between me and between you. I can see your face, what you are thinking of. I can even find out like if my session, whatever I am delivering, is actually boring you or not. So just to make this session bit more interactive, a two-way deal between me and you, I will highly appreciate if you will be turning on your webcam. Okay, so let's quickly move on to the topic of this entire session. How to plan for a startup and legal and ethical steps. Okay, how to plan for startups. So you could understand with this session, we are specifically going to hit on how to map a startup. How to find out that whatever your plan is worth for a startup. Is it worth a shot or not? Now, this is something that we are going to discuss. And once you found out this thing, like, yes, this is one topic, this is one subject, this is one statement on which I need to build my career in, or this is one thing on which I need to put a business in. What are the legal and ethical steps that you need to follow to get your company incorporated? Or is there any requirement to get your company incorporated, or you can just work as a freelancer or just as a proprietorship firm? What do you really need to do? What do we mean by startup? What do we mean by incorporation? What do we mean by private limited company, public limited company, LLP, and sole proprietorship? What do we mean by these things? So this is something that we are going to discuss with this session. So I have broken this section. I have categorized this section into two segments. The first segment is about the legal and ethical steps, just the introduction to legal and ethical steps. Very quickly, in the next 20 minutes, I will be describing you the things that are required for you to get your company incorporated. And what are the different instrumentations available with MCA, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs in India, for you to get your company incorporated or get your plan incorporated with them. In the second segment, we are going to discuss about how to plan for a startup. Right at this moment, like whatever the plan that you have got, what do you need to do to find out that you really want to invest your time, your energy, your life into a particular startup or in that subject you want to work on? So this is how we are going to proceed ahead. Okay, now before moving to the second slide, or let me just directly move to the second slide. Whenever we talk about any company, whenever we talk about any organization, when we talk about any institution, you must have heard of this term incorporation. I believe so. All right. Have you heard of this term incorporation, guys? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Incorporation. So what do we actually mean by incorporation? Like today, if I say I have got idea, my name is Abhishek Jain. So today, suddenly something happened. And in the morning when I woke up, I found out that I have got a very good idea and I want to build a business around it. Okay, I thought of this thing. I started discussing it with my friends, with my family. Everything was fine. But later on, I found out that that idea has been copied by one of my friends and he actually started to work on it. Now, I cannot take any legal action because I haven't got my idea registered. That is known as IPR. When we talk about such things now, and to protect your rights for any idea, to protect your rights for any technology, to protect your rights for any development, to protect your rights in any way when it comes to business, your idea, your work, that is known as IPR, intellectual property rights. IPR, intellectual property rights. Later in this session, we are going to discuss IPR in detail. Before that, what is incorporation? Now, you must have seen, or many of us have seen, when we go to the market, we have found many of the shops. And it's been written in there. Proprietor Mr. Kishore Tiwari, proprietor Mr. XYZ, proprietor Mr. ABC. What is this proprietor that you have always seen in local small shops available in the market? Sometimes when you have gone to the market, you found out there is not a single name that has been written in the proprietor, but it has been written sole proprietorship or the partnership form. Sorry, the partnership form. Now, when I talk about the incorporation, it means whatever the work that you are carrying on, whatever the work that you are carrying on, even if I say you are having a very small confectionery shop in the market, but you want this confectionery shop to be registered with the authorities, to be registered with Government of India, different ministries of Government of India, that is known as incorporation. Incorporation helps you to protect your rights that are related to business that you perform. Now, when I talk about incorporation, there are basically two kinds of incorporation, that is unregistered structure and registered structure. Unregistered incorporation and registered incorporation. Unregistered structure or registered structure. When I talk about unregistered structure, it means there are two variants into it, two categories into it. All the local shops that you see in your vicinity, when you go to Jagat Farm in Greater Noida, when you go to some other places, Tugalpur, all the shops that you have found it there, all the shops that you have seen there are either the sole proprietorship or are the partnership firm. When you got your company, when you get your company registered with the local bodies, that is known as sole proprietorship or partnership firm. As the name suggests, sole proprietorship means I am the only proprietor, I am the only person who runs this particular institution or who runs this particular business. This is not an institution. I'm going to describe what do we mean by institution as well. This particular business. And partnership firm, it means not only me that 2-3 more members or just more than one members are available or are liable to run this business. This is partnership firm. But now both the sole proprietorship and partnership firm are being registered with the local governing bodies. It means like maybe whatever the name that you have got for your business is going to be used by someone else sitting in Punjab. Someone else sitting in some other part of the world. That is incorporation. And that is unregistered structure. And when we talk about registered structure in incorporation, whenever we talk about registered structure in incorporation, you must have seen this in many of the companies that you see today. You have found out one-person company, OPC. Abhishank Technologies OPC. Abhishank Technologies one-person company. Abhishank Technologies Private Limited or Abhishank Technologies Limited Liability Partnership LLP or Abhishank Technologies Public Limited. Right? You must have seen these four terms. That is known as registered structure. These four terms comprised together are known as registered structure. When I get my company registered with Ministry of Corporate Affairs, when I get my entire business registered with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now, what actually happens? No one can use the name that I am using for my business anywhere in India. You got it? I can file for IPR. I can file for patent. I can file for a trademark. You must have seen this thing, McDonald's logo, trademark. No one can use it. You must have seen this thing, trade secret by Coca-Cola. No one can use it. You must have seen this thing when you go to the markets of Jaipur or when you go to the markets of when you go to any exclusive market, the products that these people used to sell comes up with a GI tag, geographical instruction tag, GI tag. So these are the benefits that I get when I get my company incorporated with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It also makes sure whatever the business that I am doing, this incorporation, Ministry of Corporate Affairs is liable or is responsible to protect all my rights if I am going to do any national or international business. MCA is liable to protect my rights. At the same time, I need to give or provide the proper bureau of my company, of the entire structure of my company. Now, what is this structure? What is this bureau is all about? Let's discuss about it. First, we are going to discuss about how to incorporate. Now, in these 5 minutes, till now, I just assume that you people got to understand that when we talk about incorporation, what do we actually mean by incorporation? Protecting the right of a business in the global market is known as incorporation. To cooperate with the government, you provide them the entire data of your company, entire data, each and everything that happened in your company. You have to provide that data to the government, and in lieu of this data, government protects your right. There are many compliances like labor law compliances, employment provident fund compliance, uh, goods and services tax compliance. There are many compliances. You need to follow all those compliance, and it is not just necessary for you to do it. It's also important. It's just not necessary for you to do because you want to get your rights reserved, protected by the MCA. But it's also very important because MCA makes sure that you are not going to exploit the right of the labor. You're not going to exploit the right of the people who are associated with your company or are working in your company. Okay, so now let us discuss about this thing, how to get your company incorporated. Supposedly, like if I say after today's session, many of you thinks of having their own startup and you want to get your company registered. Now you just came up with a name that I am going to have the same name as Reliance has. You cannot do this thing. You need to come up with a unique name that actually does not exist in the marketplace on a beforehand. Identify your brand name and identify your entity name. When I talk about brand name, it means Jio. When I talk about entity name, it means the company name, that is Reliance Industries. When I talk about entity name, it means 197. When I talk about brand name, it means Paytm Mall. Okay, the first thing that you need to do, you can even get your brand name registered on a later stage, very later stage. When you want your company to be registered under MCA, incorporated under MCA, the first thing that you need to do is to find the legal entity name. Name for your entity, name for your existence of the company. When you do this thing, it is the responsibility of your CA, it's the responsibility of your CS. When you are going to do this thing, or you can directly go through the portal of MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, you can find out, like if you say you want to go up with the name of Abhishank Technologies Private Limited, you cannot go with this name because I already have that name with me. If you want to go with the name of Takshan AQL Private Limited, you cannot go for it because Shishir has already got this name. Legal entity name. Then you will be checking for the brand trademarks for the brand name and legal name. The entity name that you have chosen, probably that is still unavailable in India. But somewhere in US, somewhere in UK, someone has already got the trademark for this particular name. Or someone might not have got his or her company registered, but has got the trademark for this name. Anything is possible. Has got the trademark for this name. So even if you find the clearance for the legal entity name, you also need to check for the trademark. Once you are clear with it, what you need to do, you need to provide the documents for roles and responsibilities of the founding team. The first thing is, when you want to get your company incorporated, either you are going to get it incorporated with OPC, that is one person company. That is Abhishank Jain is the only person who is going to own this company. Now, if you look into any OPC, you won't find this thing, private limited company, Abhishank Technologies Private Limited. You will find Abhishank Technologies OPC. Okay, OPC. Now, again, when you have got OPC, everything, all the rights, all the benefits, the protection rights that private limited company, the protection rights that public limited company, the protection rights that LLP is going to get from MCA is going to be common for you as well. But the thing is, with one person company, that what if you die? Who is going to take care of the entire business? What if this OPC one person company, the director dies? What if the director of the company dies or runs away or do any fraud? Against whom the government is going to claim? Against whom the other businesses who have lent some money, who have made some pre-orders, who have made some orders to this OPC will claim. Okay, so now when you have got the OPC, OPC has not got that good reputation when it comes to funding, when it comes to investment. Investors they don't want to put their money into a company which is OPC, because anything can happen to your life. And at that time, they need someone else who is of equal caliber to take care of the entire system. When it comes to an entity, no matter you exist or not, the entity is always going to win. Okay, now you have got your own idea. Few of the people have asked me earlier this thing, like back 2 years back, 3 years back, when I started all these things 5 years ago. People used to ask me this thing, like, why do you want to get your company registered? Why do you want these liabilities to pay 2,500 rupees per month to your CA? Why do you want to do this thing? Do not get into this entire incorporation affairs. Just work freelance. Just work freelance. But why do you want to get your company incorporated? Because I want people to recognize me as a legal entity, as a legal entity, as an ethical entity, as an ethical and as a legal entity. I want to have tie-up with few institutes, with few organizations which do not entertain the freelancers. Okay, so it's very important for you to get your company incorporated, because when you get your company incorporated, people can look at you. Okay, this is a serious firm which really wants to get their hands dirty into the job they're assigned to. Okay, now the third thing that you need to remember is the document roles and responsibilities of the founding team. For a private limited company, or LLP, you need at least two members, Okay, so you got your company registered. The ratio could be 50% for you, 50% for the other partner, or 90% for you, 10% for the other partner, 99 for you, 1% for the other partner. You need to put on some money. Initially, you have to deposit some money in your bank account to show that this is the money with which you are going to start your business. This could be as low as 5,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh. It could be of any value. This is the initial amount that you deposit to the bank, just to show with this money you are going to start your work. And as well as you can also call this money to be the guarantee of the business. Guarantee of the business. The final thing that you will be doing, you need to find out the right entity to your business. Now, today, everything has become online, and even the government of India has found out many of the business entities. When I talk about business entity, right entity according to your business, it means, do you want to work as an automobile manufacturer? Or if in automobile manufacturer, do you want to work as an engine manufacturer, auto ancillary manufacturer, air conditioning manufacturer, steering system manufacturer? If you want to get into electronics engineering, like what do you specifically want to do? Get your entity fixed. Government do not want you that you are going to register your company with any name and you will be doing anything in the world. Under the sun, you are doing everything. Government do not want you to do this thing. They want you to be very specific when it comes to business. This is something that you are doing. And you are going to get the license for the business that you are doing. There are many certifications, many licenses for the businesses operations. Businesses operations. You must have seen this thing, ISO, ISM, ASME. There are many standards that one needs to follow. So now these are the steps to incorporation. I assume that you understood what is incorporation and what are the steps to get your company incorporated. That is, first you need to get your company name registered. You have to cross check it so that no one has ever taken the trademark for this name. Okay, no, this is not what you are going to do, but when you are going to do, you are going to propose this name. If it gets rejected after certain trials, government will charge you a fees. Government will charge you a fees. So you need to come up with a name that actually does not belong to any other company, to at least not pay that extra fees to your CA or to the government or to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. You need to submit all the documents that are associated with the founding team members. Their bank account details, yes, it's compulsory for both of them. Their Aadhaar card, it's compulsory for both of them. And now it's a legal entity, their PAN card is also very important. So these are the three documents that you need to submit to get your company incorporated. For individuals directed, these are the documents that you need to submit. Against these documents, you will be receiving a digital signature. Like you can store the digital signature in your hard drive of the laptop or in the Google Drive or in any online drive or probably in your pen drive. You can put it anywhere to sign all the documents legally. Okay, leave all these things. I'm just going to give you a brief introduction about these things. Okay, there is nothing more than that. Now, this is how you can get your company registered under MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now, you became private limited. Now, it's up to you if you want to get registered as a startup, if you want to get registered as a small business, micro business, mini business, it's entirely on you. If you want to get registered as a startup, there are few parameters that you need to follow. First thing is your company has to be like whenever you're going to incorporate your company in a startup. Now, incorporating your company is a different thing. Getting a company registered with a startup is different. So now government has got a service known as Startup India. Under the MSME ministry, many other ministries that are associated with any sector related to GDP of India. When it comes to GDP, there are three primary sectors. These three primary sectors are particularly being classified into many different sectors. So when you look into all these sectors, each sector is going to have an exclusive ministry. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Science and Commerce, Ministry of XYZ, Ministry of ABCD. So we have got many ministries. Now, when you look into these ministries, all these ministries have got certain acclamations, have got certain affiliations for the businesses who got themselves registered as a startup. So now you go to the portal Startup India. Every country has got this portal. Like in India, we have got a Startup India. In US, in UK, every country has got this entire thing. Now, when you get your company registered with a startup, what actually happens? So first thing that we need to understand, when you get your company incorporated with MCA, you are liable to fill every compliance form. That is labor law compliance form, employee provident fund compliance form, taxation form, everything you need to submit. But when you get your company incorporated with the MCA and right after it, you get your company registered with the Startup India as well. When you do this thing, see, the first step to get your company registered with the Startup India, is to incorporate your business. Once you did this thing, you are going to register your company with the Startup India. Who can register for the Startup India? Anyone who has got his or her company registered in first 5 years, like 5 years before I got my company registered, I can still register for Startup India. If today I got my company registered, incorporated, I can get my company registered under Startup India. Startup India is not an incorporation. Startup India is a scheme under incorporation of businesses. Okay, Startup India is not an incorporation. Startup India is a scheme under incorporation of the business. Now, when you do this thing, when you get your company registered under Startup India, you get certain benefits. The first thing is your everything that is associated with the company's compliances. That every month you have to fill your GST. Then every 3 months or 6 months you have to fill the compliance. Labor law compliances or the employee compliances. There are many other compliances like state compliances, the UT compliances, the central compliances, whatever the compliances are there, you always get the benefit in the fees of submitting those forms. As well as if you haven't submitted any of the form on time, you get a special extension for the dates. Because government assumes like if you are a startup, you do not have enough funds or you do not have enough knowledge, enough resources available with you to get everything done. Now the entire taxation system of India is very tough. It gets very difficult for a person to get his ITR submitted himself. Though many of the people used to do this thing, but it's not that easy. It's a bit complicated. So government assumed this thing. We are not going to disturb these companies that are registered under Startup India because they are already working on an idea day and night. They do not have enough time available with them to fill all the forms of compliances. So this is what government do. And even there are many, like I just told you, there are many ministries that have got special affiliations associated with Startup India. Many affiliations associated with the companies that are registered under Startup India and are working or progressing in the sector of that particular ministry, So now what you do, you get your company registered under Startup India. Anyone can do it. Even you alone can do it. As a person, you can do it. It will hardly take 10 to 15 minutes. What is more important is DPIIT recognition. DPIIT recognition. Now, Government of India has actually formed a completely different department, that is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Earlier, this is known as Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. Earlier, it is known as Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, DIPP. But now it is known as DPIIT. When you get this DPIIT recognition, now these DPIIT people are going to ask you a few questions to know if you're really working on a particular subject. Like, are you really doing something that is completely out of league, right? Are you a small business or really a startup? Like, you are just going to open a confectionery shop, you cannot call yourself a startup unless or until you are solving a problem. So documentation. Probably, like, even after opening the confectionery shop, you came up with a principle that you are going to provide the home delivery services to every person in this particular range. And you came up with a document which shows that how you are solving the problem of people. When you get all these things done, the documentation of your idea done, you get the DPIIT recognition. Now, as per the government, a DPIIT recognition is free. As per the government, the DPIIT recognition is free, but it's going to be very difficult for you to get your company a DPIIT recognition unless or until you get either the help of a broker or you get the help of any CA or any finance lawyer. Now, once you do this thing, you get the DPIIT recognition. Now, what actually happens? I just told you this thing earlier. When you want to get your company incorporated, you have to submit a certain amount of money to bank. And that bank is going to take that money as a guarantee of your startup that you are not going to run away. But when you get your company registered under the startup, you do not have to put that money into bank account. You do not have to put that money into bank account. Now, even you know this thing, even for the savings account, sometimes it happens, or the bank asks you that you have to follow, like you have to maintain a minimum balance in your bank account. When you get the DPIIT recognition, many of the banks will be giving you the permission to maintain zero balance account. Zero balance maintenance fees. So these are the many benefits that are associated with DPIIT. And the best thing is anyone in India can get their company, their existence registered under Startup India. For sole proprietorship, it will cost you hardly 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, depending upon the city you are living. Okay, and the connection that you have got in your local administration. For your company having a legal shape, that is sole proprietorship or partnership firm. Sole proprietorship and partnership firm. It will hardly cost you 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees to get your company registered under sole proprietorship and partnership firm. Once you do this thing, you get your company registered under Startup India and can take all the benefits that a very big LLP private limited company used to take. Very big LLP or private limited company used to take. Now, for all the students who are in this meeting, I urge you people, no matter what you plan to do, like even if you're going to open a very small confectionery shop, but if you can maintain the documents and come up with a pain point that you can solve, I will say get yourself registered as a sole proprietor or a partnership firm. It won't take much of your money, just 1,000 rupees. Get your company registered under Startup India. That's free. Try to get DPIIT recognition. Full of some strings, try to get DPIIT recognition. There are many companies online that can get you the DPIIT recognition at a very low cost. Once you do this thing, you will officially enter into the world of startup. Attend as many startup meets as possible. Okay, so this is all. You will be getting a startup recognition number. There are going to be documents for the registration. There are going to be many things, many benefits that you will be getting from the Government of India. Any foreign investment that comes to India first is going to be delivered to the startup ecosystem of this country. Now, why incorporation? Why organizational setup code? What is organizational setup code? Now, when I talk about why incorporation, I won't be talking about the legal aspects or the ethical aspects of it, but I will be just talking about the setup core values of an organization. Okay. So the first thing that we need to understand with this section is what do we actually mean by organization? Now, before proceeding ahead with this session, I just need to know that if you people are with me, say yes, you are with me.
Yes.
Everyone. I'm going to call out the names now. I'm going to call out the names. Okay. Ayushi Singh, Abhinav Kumar, Abhishek Kumar, Akash from EC second year, Anil Kushwa, Ankit Kumar, Anshika, Aryan, Ashutosh. Please say hi or write something in the chat box.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Yes, Aryan Singh,
Hi,
Ashutosh, Gopal Gupta, Gopal Bharadwaj, Kamlesh Kumar,
Hi, sir.
Kaushik Kumar. Just let me know that you people are not sleeping or you haven't just muted your phone or your device.
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. So I believe you understood up till
We
now
are
that what do
really
we
enjoy
mean by.
this session, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. I know that you are saying it with a heavy heart. Okay. So till this time, I assume that you understood what do we mean by incorporations. What are the steps to get your company incorporated? I just try to make this thing as simple as possible. Now, in the later stage of this section, again, still we are in the first segment of this session only. Why incorporation? What do we mean by organization at work? What do we mean by organization at work? So understand it likewise. Today, if I say I'm very good in a particular subject, say it automotive technologies or say motorsports engineering, Abhishek Jain is a very good person, is a very good, having a very good command on this subject of motorsports engineering. Okay. And to make some money or just to make people aware of this particular subject, I started my tuition classes. Abhishek Jain tuition classes of motorsports engineering or mechanical engineering. I started this thing. Okay. Now, in this tuition class, who is the person who is responsible for promotion? Abhishek Jain. Who is the person responsible to collect the fees from the students? Abhishek Jain. Who is the person responsible to teach the students? Abhishek Jain. Who is the person responsible to clean the floor and to do every step? Is responsible to prepare the presentation, is responsible to take the lecture, is responsible to take the fees, is responsible to prepare the documents. Only one person, Abhishek Jain. What if today Abhishek Jain falls sick or anything wrong goes with it? What will happen? Abhishek Jain teaching classes of mechanical engineering or motorsports engineering will fall apart. Will fall apart. So you cannot call such kind of business stream, to be an incorporation or to be an organization. You cannot call it to be an organization. When we talk about organization, organization means when a group of people come together and start performing a certain predefined activities, predefined activities. When I say predefined activities, it means these activities are same for which you get your company incorporated with MCA. Okay, when group of people come together and start performing the predefined activities, such that the role of one particular activity is not dependent on the person. The only thing is the activity should have to be completed. The event should have to be completed. Who do it does not matter. I do it or I hire someone else to get it done. It hardly matters. It should have to be done under the name of this organization, under the name of this incorporation. This is what we call the organization. When you look into GNIOT, when you look into your college, it's actually an organization. No matter if there is a director who retires after 5 years, someone else will come up and take his or her place. Okay, this is what we call as the organization. Now, when we talk about organization, people used to say there are three pillars of organization based on different parameters. So when I talk about these parameters, the few things that I came up with personally, when it comes to organization is your organization actually stands on three set of core values. That is the institutionalization, formalization, and linearization. Institutionalization, formalization, and linearization. What do I mean by this thing? Let me just explain this thing to you. Okay. So now, when I talk about this thing, institutionalism, what do I mean by institutionalism? I'm going to put these things very straight to you, I've already explained this thing to you, organization. Organization only focuses on completing the task for which you get your company registered, entity registered. The tasks are needed to be done. The founding members, the board of directors, everyone is going to be at their place, but anyone can do this job. Anyone can complete these tasks. All you need to do is to give the prior info. That is it. And when I talk about institution, all the organizations are institution, all the organizations are formal, all the organizations are linear. But you cannot say anything that is linear is an organization. So organization is a set for all these subsets that we are discussing now. We are going to discuss now. Institute. When I talk about institute, always remember this thing. Whenever we talk about institute, it only means, that any task that is needed to be done, is not person dependent. That task is department dependent. Okay. Now, if I take an example of GNIOT, is a group of colleges. Now you have got mechanical engineering, you have got electrical engineering, you have got an engineering as a whole. Now in the engineering, you have got various categories. For the mechanical engineering, for electrical engineering, you have got different head of departments. And you have got one director who regulates the entire engineering. So now if I talk about this hierarchical order, if there is a particular subject that is needed to be taught, it is the responsibility of the engineering division. Now specifically in engineering division, this is the responsibility of the mechanical engineering department. Now in the mechanical engineering department, this is the responsibility. Again, if you have got certain sub departments available in your mechanical engineering, this is the responsibility of that sub department. And then it goes to your faculty. Your faculty is just the instrument and tool to perform that activity. Your faculty is just the tool or the instrument. Like for me, if it was not me, anyone in this world would have come up. People 100 times or 1,000 times or million times better than me would have come up to take this session. Okay, to take this session. So me, when it comes to institution, I hold no value other than being a tool or being an instrument for the completion of a task. This is what we call an institute. Now, we understood this thing. What do we mean by institute? Now, the second pillar for the organizational core setup is the formalization. Now, when you want to take an admission into GNIOT, the college administration would have directly asked you, okay, come, sit, your classes starts from today itself. No, they don't do this thing. They will be asking you for the rank in various examinations that you have given. And they will be looking, the marks that you have got, the grades that you have received in those examinations, are they enough for you to get an admission into GNIOT? There must be a formal structure known as cutoff marks into certain exams. And probably you also have to complete your 12th. Then have to appear for certain examination and get the minimum cutoff mark that has been decided by GNIOT, working on different parameters for their institute. Once you get to the institute, you want to take the admission, you came up with all the fees, you directly put the entire money into the table of your HOD, into the table of your director, and ask him or her to give you the admission. They won't do it. They will be asking you to follow the entire structure. That is, you will be filling up the form of admission. Then you will be submitting your documents. You will be submitting few more documents that you are going to comply with all the rules and regulations of this institute, the anti-ragging submission form and everything. You will be filling it up. Once you fill this thing up, they give you a formal admission in their institute. And now these documents will go to university for the cross verification. Now the entire structure, if you look into here, is very formal. If it is just about you to gain the knowledge in an institute, if it's just about you to start studying all the concepts in an institute, then why do you need to submit the form? Why do you need to fill the form? When everything in an institute gets documented, that is known as formalization. Every activity needs to be documented. That is known as formalization. Now currently NBAC has currently came, NABC or NBAC, something like this, came up. So now all the colleges are liable to submit the documents for every activity that is happening in and around the campus. So when we talk about such things, this is known as formalization. Documenting every activity that is associated with your institute. Now I have already explained what is organization. I've already explained what is institution, and now I have told you what is formalization. When I talk about linearization, it means the linearization of operations. Linearization of operations. Now, when I say linearization of operations, it means your director is not going to teach you all the subjects. There is a specific path that is need to be followed. Like when you look into your university curriculum, you will find out your entire pedagogy of your college, the entire pedagogical structure of your education has been divided into three categories. That is lectures, tutorials, and practicals. Lectures, tutorials, and practicals. Now, lecture is going to be taken up by one faculty, practical is going to be taken up by some other faculty, tutorial probably is going to be taken by the same faculty which takes the lecture, for you. When a faculty enters into the classroom, they have got an agenda. That agenda is to finish the subject. Now for thermodynamics, like if you are the electronics engineering students, I would say network theory is one subject. Now in the network theory, I know there are 5 topics. There are 5 units. There are 5 units, or specifically if I say this entire subject comprises of 40 hours of learning. For few universities, it is 28 hours as well. 40 hours of learning if I talk about network theory. Okay, so now if I say there are going to be 40 lectures for this particular subject, network theory, 1 hour of each lecture. Then how is it going to be divided? What is going to be discussed in each lecture? This is the linear structure. Your faculty, even if he or she wants to go off track the subject, they cannot. They should have to follow this pattern. Linearization of process. And it's really very important for an organization to sustain, to have the linearization of operations. Linearization of operations. So these are the 3 core values of which an institution is dependent on. Now, this is the one segment of my entire presentation. I hope you people have understood whatever I have discussed up till now. So still, again, I need a very quick roll call from each one of you to let me know that you people are still with me. I have completed first sector of this entire presentation. The entire session has been categorized, has been constituted of 2 segments. First, to talk about the legal and ethical steps. These are the legal steps. I haven't talked about the ethical as well. I will be just telling you what do we mean by ethical. So this is the first portion that we have completed. Now, second thing that we are going to complete, we are going to understand is how to start. Okay. Now just tell me, hey, hi, hello, yes, to let me know that you people are still with me. Yes, I need at least 5 yes or 5 hey to proceed ahead with the session.
Yes, sir.
1,
Yes,
Yes, sir.
2,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
3,
Yes, sir.
4, 5. Very good. So now we are ready to go. Now we are ready to go. Okay, so now let's just talk about this first thing, how to plan for a startup. Now I won't telling you what are the intricacies that are involved once you get your company registered. What are the different stages of a startup? Like there are 6 stages, 5 stages, 4 stages. Different companies, different portals used to come up with different strategies. So I won't be discussing about this thing. I will be just discussing about wherever you are currently today, wherever you find yourself today, from this point onward, if you want to get your company incorporated, if you want to get started with a startup, what you really need to do. This is what I'm going to discuss. This is what I'm going to discuss with this session. Now, I always used to say there is a 3 steps guide to get started. That is, first to understand the chronology to starting up. Second is the validation on plan and work. Third is understanding the various stages of a startup. When you work on these 3 things, you actually do not just launch your company, you take it to a certain height. So everything that is required to write the very first day when you write your plan on paper, that is the chronology of starting up. From this to understanding the various stages of a startup, that is the exit stage, the establishment stage, everything has been covered. I won't be covering all these things. I won't be covering validation on plan and work. I won't be covering understanding various stages of a startup. I will just be covering the chronology to starting. And once I'm done with the chronology to starting up, I will be taking up the few anomalies, as well as I will be taking the 7 different steps that you need to follow to plan your start. So let me just take you to this very quick guide. When I talk about starting up, yesterday I got a session with a mechanical engineering student. At that time, I have asked this question, or I have said this thing to the students who were present there or attended that session. When you took the admission into your engineering campus, you must have got certain aspirations that when you are going to get into engineering campus, you are going to build your own robo suit, you are going to build your own Batmobile, you are going to build something, some AI, some ML or some other instrument. You must have thought of something. Everyone has got certain aspirations. If you do not have those aspirations, I do not know why are you doing the engineering at the very first place. I'm really sorry. I do not mean it actually. But yes, everyone has got certain aspirations. So when we talk about these aspirations, so whenever we talk about these aspirations, we need to understand, are we really working on it or not? Or whatever your dream is, have you ever thought of writing it down on a piece of paper? Now, many of you must have got a habit of writing things on a diary or on a daily basis. Probably blogs, probably articles, probably diary writing or anything. But what's more important, when you write it down, have you written it in a way that you want to convert it into a business? If you are having a certain plan, I want you people to write it today on a piece of paper. Write down everything that you have ever thought of doing. Like you want to become a cricketer, you want to do this thing, you want to do this thing, you want to do this thing. I have got like no harshness with you. Like if you say that I want to become a cricketer or a footballer, I do not want to go for a startup. That's absolutely fine. At least I'm happy that you will be finding out what you really wanted to do with your life. Okay, so the first thing that you people need to do, and that I expect, or the people, the company, the incorporation affairs expect from you, to have the clear-cut understanding of the goal, of your vision, of your statement. What is your vision and the statement of purpose? First, figure this thing out. Supposedly, like if I say that I want to build my own range of EV product. Like I want to come up with my own EV bikes, EV scooters, or EV cars in the market one day. No, this is one thing. You must have not seen a manufacturer who comes up in a two-wheeler segment and in a four-wheeler segment. It gets very hectic, very big thing for a one person to deal with everything. But when you look into BMW, you are into both the segments. Somehow it's possible. Somehow it's possible. So if I say that I want to get into EV sector, have to come up with my own range of electric vehicles, be it two-wheelers, be it three-wheelers, be it four-wheelers. If I say this thing, I want to come up with my own commercial and passenger vehicles in the EV segment. So I know my vision. I know my vision. Now, what I need to do to have the clear-cut understanding of what I really wanted to do. Like if I say that I want to build my own EV vehicle, the very first thing that I need to do is to figure out what is the definition of the electric vehicle. Many of the people, like they say, I want to do this thing. When you say what do you specifically want to do this thing, please explain. You will be explaining everything disruptively. Disruption is not required. Discrete understanding of a vision is not going to be entertained, is not good for you, is not good for you. What you need is a pinpoint understanding, clarity of the subject. And when I talk about the clarity of the subject, you need to know the definition of the statement you are working on. And when I say definition, it's very much important for you to understand what do I actually mean by definition. And when I say definition, when I define the definition, you can even read it down, it's written in here. Definition is a single sentence statement that describes the subject under scrutiny and at the same time distinguishes it from all the other subjects present globally. When I say the definition of electric vehicle, I should have to come up with a single sentence statement in a way that the definition, when anyone reads the definition of the electric vehicle, it's so clear, so crisp, that he or she has got no disparity if they look into any IC engine vehicle, they look into any other machine present in the world. It's a descriptive statement. It's a descriptive statement that defines the object, not just defines the object, but also distinguishes it from all the other subjects present globally. Okay, so now for an example, if I give the definition of an electric vehicle. Now, electric vehicle definition is going to be different than electric two-wheeler, then electric four-wheeler, then electric three-wheeler. Okay, specifically, my vision is to get into electric vehicle. So electric vehicle is a means of transportation where the source of power is the electric engine being propelled by an electric battery. Okay, now it could be two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler. Should be able. Now, on what terrains do I want to run it? I have to write it down. Okay, so everything that defines your subject under scrutiny from all the other objects and distinguishes it from all the other objects or subjects present globally is known as definition. The second thing that you need to understand is the purpose of your goal, purpose of your vision. Why do you want to do this thing? Now it's written here, first understand who you are, or I would generally say first understand what your product is. Get the clear picture for it. Why do you want this product to come up in the market? Is there any other product already present in the market doing exactly the same thing that they are doing, that you are doing, or you are planning to do, you are supposed to do? Or even then, if you're coming up with a market, there should be something that you must have thought of. Maybe the market is very big. I can also cater my services into the market. But you will be saying, I also want to become a competitor. I want to become a competitor which provides a better services in comparison to the already existing player. Or I am going to be the person who is responsible. This company is going to be responsible to lay out the foundation of this purpose, this vision into the localities where the other company which already exists in the market is not working. You want to target those segments. What is your purpose? There's a chronological order for starting out. Whatever your vision is, whatever your idea is, first define it. Once you define it, get the purpose. The third is area of usage. Where are you going to use it? Where are you going to use it? It's very important for you to understand which segment of population is going to use it. Which segment of population is going to use it? It's also very important for you to understand. Look here, which segment of population is going to? Like, are you preparing a product like say nappies? Okay, if you're preparing nappies, they are going to be used by children or are going to be used by infants or probably by the elderly people, but not by this segment of population that comes in a range of 10-year-old to 50-year-old or 60 years. Find out your demography, find out your geographical location. What is the area of usage? Where are you going to use it? This is very much important for you to figure out. And the fourth thing in the chronological order, is the constraint. Now, first is the definition. Second is the purpose. Third is the area of usage. And fourth is the constraint. You said, I want to launch this particular project, but the political environment of that particular city does not allow you to launch your product in the market. The economic facility of the country, maybe the Texas. Tesla has recently made this comment, even it has been supported by Hyundai International, that the tax policy of this country is not desirable enough for them to put their vehicles or to get their vehicles in the Indian market. The import duties is 100%. If the government wants to encourage the electric vehicles in Indian market, they should have to reduce the import duties. Economic framework, social framework, like if you want to establish a company, you need to take the permission from all the social bodies. Technological development, you want to put your company, like you want to establish your company, but at the same time, this country has not got, this particular location has not got enough electricity infrastructure, the transportation infrastructure, the skilled labor, environmental. You cannot just put a factory in the mid of a city which generates a huge pollution, the air pollution, the sound pollution, energy. Environmental issue. Legal issue. You cannot directly set up your plant in Jammu and Kashmir. You need to take certain permissions. You cannot directly go and launch your products in some other state. You need to take the permission from local body, the governing body. Legal. You must have seen this thing. P&G and many other companies recently said this thing, that there are few states like Uttar Pradesh and there are few other states are not desirable enough to put or to have their setup. Recently, India's biggest or the world's biggest, second biggest toy maker has moved their entire project plan from Kerala to Tamil Nadu, stating that the legal bodies, the governing bodies of Kerala are not supporting their structure. Which later the entire structure, the entire comment has been apologized by the government of Kerala itself. Constraints, you need to work on the constraint. You can see clearly in this picture, when you start running, there are going to be many forces which will make you stop, which will try to decelerate your entire process. I hope you understood this. So now the very first thing for you to understand to start up is to get the clear picture of what you really wanted to do. I want each one of you, if it's possible for you to do it now, do it now. Or right after the session, if you want to do it, write this thing, definition, purpose, area of usage, and constraint. Write down these 4 points. Whatever your idea is, write it down. Put the definition for it, put the purpose for it, put the area of usage and put the constraint for it. Now, always remember this thing when you do this thing. I always used to say this thing every time whenever I have to speak on these topics related to a startup or whenever I used to have a word with my peers, always, every time we used to say this thing. If you can pen your idea, if you cannot pen your idea in a single page, your startup is already going to fail. Whatever your idea is, if you cannot write it down, if you cannot summarize it down in a single page, very pinpoint, very clear and crisp in a single page, if you cannot do this thing, it means you do not have the clarity. If you do not have the clarity, it means you're never going to succeed. Second, if you cannot elaborate your startup idea into 100 pages, then convert from 1 page to 100 pages, your startup is going to fail elsewhere. So it's a two-way deal, hand on hand deal. You have to elaborate all the concepts, everything associated with your startup into 100 pages. And at the same time, you are the only person who is liable to convert it into a single page. And who is stopping you? Most of the people start discussing about the constraints. Hey, this is not possible. My MLA, my city MP, this or that, they are not going to support us. If this company cannot do this thing, how we can? If we are thinking of this idea, probably hundreds of other people in this world have already thought of it, or probably they are working on it. And if they cannot do this thing, how can we? Most of the people get stuck with these constraints. Do not get stuck. Make your path. Go with this thing, definition, purpose, area of usage. If these three things are clear to you, you can find out these constraints as well. You can fight with this constraint, and you do not actually have to fight with these constraints. There are going to be legal entities which can fight with these constraints. You can hire people to fight with these constraints. But as a founder, it's your responsibility to come up with a definition, purpose, and area of usage. Write it down on a single page and elaborate it into 100 pages. When you do it, you are a startup ready. When you do it, you are a startup ready. But now, what do you need to write? What do you need to write? Let's just discuss about it. Now, these are the 7 things that you need to write. These are the 7 points that you need to write. First is the executive summary. When I said that you want to write your entire company's phenomena in 1 page, this is executive summary. What you do, how you do, why you do, where you do. What you do, why you do, where you do, 3 Ws, and how you do. Okay, and 1. 3W1H. When you fix everything down in a single page, that is known as executive. Okay. Second is the company description. You can write down anything like these are the 5 members assigned by 5 members. This is the principle. This is the vision. Everything needs to be written down in the company's description. What do you actually do is company's description. How you do it? What is your philosophy? Hardly matters. What you do is the company's description. Third is the market research. Which special demography you are going to target? Market research is 4P. Product, price, promotion. I'm going to discuss about this thing. Second, description of the products or services. Whatever the services that you are going to provide. Say like training. The company description is that you provide training. Now, in a particular training, if I say it's about cloud computing, what exactly are you going to teach in cloud computing? Your entire learning outcome for the student. Objective. Whatever you can write on description of the product and service. Everything should have to be clear and clear. And when I talk about description, fill it with as many possible things as possible. Do not just write it down. I want to take a workshop on cloud computing. Write down the entire agenda. Total number of duration that you require. Everything in a startup world or everything that you do in your life is actually time bound. Duration, learning outcome, your curriculum, and then your pedagogy. Or I could say it could be like curriculum, pedagogy, duration, learning outcome. And is there any extra on that a person will be learning out of that course? This is what we call a description of course. Like if you're a website, web development company, there could be a description of the service. Then management and operational structure. When I talk about management and operational structure, it means there is a CEO. After CEO, there are going to be many other roles. And there could be some parallel roles. And above the CEO, there is board of directors. Everything should have to be written down. Management and operational structure. You should know who is doing what, who is liable for the particular thing. And then we will be discussing about marketing planning. When you write down each and everything, all these 7 points, when I say that you need to write down these things, definition, purpose, and area of usage, specifically when you do this thing, you need to make the entire business plan. You need to document all these things. If you can document all these things, if you can present this thing into n number of startup events, right? It won't take any money. It won't take any money. Come up with the idea, start discovering, start researching everything on internet. Fill these documents, write down everything that is possible for you. Write down everything that is possible for you. Once you get the clarity about these things, you think that you got the clarity about these things, go and start presenting your idea into various startups. When you start doing so, the questions that the judges will be putting forth in front of you will give you a bit more clarity about the subject or the topic under explained. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So now, very quickly, I'm going to move on to these seven topics. In next 10 minutes, or in next 5 minutes or 10 minutes, between 5 to 10, I'm going to end this session, and then I'm going to be open to all the questions. Okay. I want you people to please ask me 3 questions. This is not for me. Okay. This is for you. Understand this. When I talk about executive summary, everything that I discussed in here, okay, everything following the executive summary needed to be written up. Okay, needed to be written down. Needed to be written down. It means what is your, when we say punch statement, it means your statement, your goal. Then you're going to write it down in a single statement. Okay, like when I say tagline.
May I interrupt you? Actually, we have about 5 minutes more.
Yes, in 5 minutes, I'm going.
So kindly conclude within 5 minutes. Okay.
Yes, sir, sure. Tagline or motto. Okay, then which problem are you solving? How are you solving it? What is the opportunity for the people? Like if someone wants to join your team, if someone wants to take the solution from you, what are the things, the benefits that you will be receiving? Everything when you write it down, everything about your company, that is known as executives. Company description, that what is your business name? What is your business goal? What is the competitive advantage that you have got? Target customer, business location, mission statement. If I say Abhishank Technology Private Limited come up with the EV vehicle by December 2022, competitive advantage, very few players are available in Indian market with the technical expertise that is required to build the vehicles. Now, target customers, everyone in India, right? Anyone who owns or whose vehicles expiry, I think their expiry is coming up. Business location, India currently, mission statement to like whatever the number of figures, number of vehicles I want to deliver in upcoming years. Products, I've already told you, electric vehicles, electric bikes, electric scooters, electric cars. Opening date, December 2022. Business structure, how we are going to do this in the steps, right? To discuss. Company description. Then market is, where do you place your product in the market? Where do you place your product in the market? It's also very important for you to understand. Look here very carefully. Product and how will you be promoting it? Where do you place it? Like there are going to be many competitors already available in the market. So where do you see yourself? What is the pricing of your product and how do you compare it with the other competitors? So when you do the market research, find out what is your target. Do the survey. Do people really want this thing? What is your market cap or market gap? Analytics, statistics, customer, trend, evaluation, do everything that is possible for you. I'm limited with the time, so I'm not covering everything. I'm just giving you the gist. Description of the product. Description of the product. Are you coming up with a service or are you coming up with a product? Or if with product, what kind of product is it? Pinpoint, mapping it. Identify the trends. Rate price strategy. What is your product? Is it a low cost product, high cost product, medium cost product? And which segment does your product comes up? Management and operational role. Now leadership, it means CEO, above him or here you are going to have the board of member. Then job function A, job function B, job function C, D. You can have the entire organizational screen. You can have the entire organizational tree in howsoever manner, in whatsoever manner you want to build, right? Like if you say this is a CEO, then CFO, then CMO. Okay, now this CMO, CFO comes under CEO. Okay, the CEO. Now all these, the CFO will be working with a team of finance, CMO will be working with a certain team, this will be working with a certain team. So hierarchical order should have to be there. Who reports me? The marketing. SWOT analysis, cluster analysis, everything that you require. The market positioning, market placement. That is the market issue. Financial plan. After how many years or after selling how many products, after getting how many customers, acquiring how many customers, your product gets the break even. When I talk about break even, it means your entire product gets into, entire company gets into low profit, no loss. NPNL, no profit, no loss. Understood, guys? So this is all from my side. In next 2 minutes, just in 2 minutes, I'm going to give you the entire detail. Just in 2 minutes, and I'm going to be open for the question. The first thing, we have divided this entire session into two categorization, into two segments. First, we discussed about the legal step to get your company incorporated. We discussed like in a very low cost of 1,000 to 2,000, you get your company registered under sole proprietorship or partnership. That is an unregistered structure. You get your company registered not with the ministry, but with the local authority, local administration. Or you can get your company registered, or you get your company not registered, but just incorporated with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. When you get your company incorporated, your incorporation, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs are liable to protect all your rights when it comes to trade, when it comes to business. And now you think that you want to register for a startup. It means that you want to expand and you are solving a problem that nobody has solved. Or if someone is solving, but you have got a completely different strategy to solve that problem. So at that time, you can get your company registered under a startup. When you get your company registered under a startup and you get the DPIIT recognition, DPIIT recognition means Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. When you do this thing, you got many accolades from the government of India that helps you out in carrying your operations at a very low cost. Now, when you get the company registered, why you get your company incorporated? We discussed about this thing. Institutionalization, formalization, and linearization. We also discussed about IPR. Now, after this, the second section came up that how can you plan your startup? So I asked you people, whatever the idea that you people have got, you need to write it down in a paper. And when you write it down, there's a particular chronological order that you need to follow is to understand what is the definition of the subject idea, what's the purpose of the idea, where are you going to use this idea, who is going to be your target audience, target customer, and then what are the constraints available in the vicinity. Now, whatever you are going to write it down, there are 7 steps that you need to follow. 7 steps. I have already told you what you need to write, but 7 steps that you need to follow, that whatever you are going to write, you have to write the executive summary. We discussed about the executive summary. You have to write the company description. You have to write the market research. And after writing the market research, you have to work on description of the products and services. What are you actually selling? Management and operational structure, marketing plan, and financial. This is how you get ready for a startup. This is how we get ready for a startup. Now, that's all from my end. Whatever I have to discuss, I believe I have already discussed these things with you. Now, I'm entirely open to all the questions. Like if the time limit, if sir allow, if your faculty members, if the college administration allows us, we can have a question answer session. Yes, people, you can ask the questions like if you have got them. Anyone, like if you need to ask any question, you can ask me. Ayushi, Abhinav, Anil Pushwa, Ankit Kumar, Anshika, Ashutosh.
Sir, how to move forward with our ideation stage?
How
Because
to
lot
move?
are stuck on the ideation stage.
Okay, who asked this question? Can you please name yourself, please? What's your name, dear?
Anil Kushwaha, sir.
Okay, Anil Pushwa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for asking this question. Okay, now I just told you this thing. Many of the people actually get stuck with the ideation stage. And when I talk about ideation stage, probably the people get stuck with the constraints that are available. What you need to do is to follow the top-down approach, the top-down negation. That first you need to pinpoint the definitions. You need to pinpoint the purpose of your startup, purpose of your plan. Then you need to figure out. To whom are you going to sell your product. To whom are you going to sell your product? What you need to actually work on is to come up with the executive summary, company description, market research. Now you just asked me this question. How to come up with the ideation stage, how to complete this thing. You cannot do this thing unless or until you start writing it down. Write it slow. Write it in the language you are comfortable with. Write it in Hindi if you speak Malayalam, Telugu, whatever the language that you speak, or you write, do it in that language. Okay? The very first day when you're going to write it down, You will be writing just one sentence. I am going to have my own EV startup. Okay, I'm going to sell these products. Whatever you have got in your mind, write down the entire story. Write down the entire story. At this point of time, I can call this entire story to be the executive summary of your start. But now this is not how it is going to work out. This is not how it is going to work out. Now what you need to do, go to the website of Y Combinator or go to the website of any other very prestigious incubation. Okay, Y Combinator is one of the most prestigious incubator global. Go to their website. There is a free course available on how to start. Find out the question and the workbook that is available. There are many books like Willy and Willy. There are many books, workbooks that are available. When I say workbook, it means it gives you the clarity. What is your statement? What is your purpose? How are you going to do this thing? What if the customer says no? What if the customer says yes? Then what is the path of your operation? What will you be doing? When you look into such kind of worksheet, you will ultimately get the clarity of this. Okay, you will ultimately get the clarity on how to proceed ahead with your idea. Understood?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for clearing my question.
I hope this answers your question. Yes, just go to the website of Y Combinator, look into the worksheet that is available. It's free worksheet. Look into it. Yes, anyone else? Anyone else if want to come up with a question, it's fine. Else we can end this session.
Abhishank, I think you have given very nice presentation, and it is self-elaborate, so there is no question from the student side. So we proceed further.
Okay.
Thank you, Abhishek Jain, for giving such a nice presentation. And now request my HOD ma'am, Dr. Shali Garg, to please give a vote of thanks to him. Ma'am, please.
Ma'am, you are not audible. No, you must have got certain issue with your mic.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, let me tell you, Mr. Abhishank, such an energetic presentation you have given today. Your energy level was so consistent that it has really not let the anybody come out of its zone of comfort, because it was so good to hear you, and nobody could even think of not listening to your words. Every line you have given today is a kind of lesson, and I feel really fortunate to have your session today. And students are highly motivated because this is one thing which they really look for. They want to know how their ideas can be translated into a greater vision, how they can perform better. And I must thank Dr. Anuranjan Mishra, Dean Research and Innovation at the GNIOT, who has arranged this session, and I have no words to express my deep gratitude towards him for arranging this session. Mr. Abhishank, you have given a wonderful talk, and believe me, it has captivated everybody so strongly. And I feel that this is going to give you output, because such talks definitely add a vibration into the students. They build up a spark in the students to obviously perform better in their life. And I would like to thank the entire team, Dr. Rakhi Bhardwaj, who had been working hard for the arrangement of the session. And I want to thank the audience, who are the most important people for us, because it is you people who are going to bring innovation to the entire nation. We look forward to you for creating things, for doing wonders. So I would like to thank once again everybody who has contributed, who has attended the session. And once again, thanks to the speaker of the session, Mr. Abhishank Jain. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Ma'am, we shall have a group photo now. So please, everyone, please on your cameras, please, so that we can have a picture.
All the students
Yes,
who are
sure,
in
ma'am,
the
sure.
presentable format, they can open your
सर आपका माइक
their
शायद ऑफ है क्या?
cameras.
आवाज धीरे आ रही है.
Hello. The students who are in the presentable format, they can open their cameras so that a picture with all students can be taken.
Let's put it into gallery mode, Rakhi ma'am, because it is in the spotlight mode, so picture will not come.
I have marked gallery mode, ma'am.
Now,
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Done.
thank you, Mr.
Thank
Vishal,
you.
once again, and we look forward to get guidance from you in future also. And thank you, Shishir, for being there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am. So can I leave the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.